point in my life where I am right now, I want to just release all those emotions. I want to understand how to tackle those emotions, and I want to just release all those feelings of doubts, feelings of hatred, feelings of hurt, any feelings that I had in my mind, in my body, in my soul. I just want to release that and become a new woman leading up to 2022. So Larkeia. All right, hello everybody. Thank you again for tuning into the channel today. It is me, Brianna Sturchill, or Brianna S, whatever you want to call me. We are here on this healing journey. We have a very special guest, Larkeia, whatever you want to call her. She is actually not really a guest to me. She's actually one of my very closest friends. We met many years ago, and now we have just been on this journey of just figuring out life and figuring out the best options that we should do as far as going into our business together, going into businesses, and just going into the next year of just being, what you want to call it, just being empowered by other women.
Being our best selves.
Being entrepreneurs, and just reaching a goal of being a millionaire. So today, I'm actually nervous, you guys. So we're going to be talking about me.
Yes.
We're going to be talking about my healing process. We're going to be talking about things that I have dealt with in the past that I'm trying to get over going into next year, because I really want to just release all those emotions, leave that into 2021. And you may be asking why we're just in pajamas. Dog. Y'all, there's a dog in the background. He is scratching. I'm like, oh my goodness.
Because we're comfy and we're at home.
Right.
And my dog knows that it's time to come in.
Right. But yeah, so I wanted to do something different, kind of change it up. We're in our pajamas because I feel like to be true to yourself, you have to kind of bear all those minerals down and just be comfortable, because this space is supposed to be a safe space for you all, a safe space for me, safe space to the speakers, because we all want to make sure that whatever we're going through, whatever somebody's going through, we know somebody else is going to be by our side throughout the whole time. So just Larkeia, just tell us a little bit about yourself. She is a motivational speaker. If you guys do not know, she's a boss mom. She's an entrepreneur. She does every single thing. And she also has a very important movement that she's working on that is called Legacy in Heels. So tune into that as well, because she got some really great things going on to next year. So Larkeia, just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, well, thank you, Bree, for that welcome.
Okay.
Yes, I am Larkeia Kiana, or better known as Larkeia Matthews, on all my social medias. And my brand is called Legacy in Heels. And it really is a movement. It's a movement for women and teen girls, because we can't leave them out, because they are our future. They're the next generation. Right. So my mission is to empower those young girls that are headed into adulthood, and the young women now who are already there, but still need some help getting to the next place in their life. So what I do pretty much, I speak. I'm an empowerment speaker, a transformational speaker. I speak life into women and children, but I also help them to remove some of the blinders off from some of the things that are going on subconsciously that block them from being their best selves. Period. Really, that's what I do. So I just help people take their power back, because you already have it in you. It's already yours. You just need to reclaim it. You just need to know the steps to reclaim it. And so that's what I walk people through the process. And it's a beautiful process. And I'm honored that I'm here with my girl, able to help her at the end of the year get rid of some of those demons and some of those chains that have been holding her back, that she has decided now is the time to do. Because you know how we do. We say, okay, I'm good, and we push it aside. We push a lot of things under the rug. So big kudos to Brianna for saying, at this point in my life, I could just keep going like I'm going. But she says, no, let's walk through this. Let's dig into this so I can go to another place in my life. And that's what we're doing here today.
So, as you know, so many of you do not know, this year has really been a difficult time for me. In July, I took the opportunity to step out on faith and quit my job. And ever since then, it has been really hard. I have grown to really understand myself and know what my triggers are more than ever. And so that's why I have Larkeia here, because during that time of transitioning into entrepreneurship, I realized I really need some help. I've always thought that I have possibly handled it and maybe settled it in a way where I know that if it triggers again, I know how to handle it. Mm-hmm. But actually, I really do not know how to. And my point in my life right now, I want to just release all those emotions. I want to understand how to tackle those emotions. And I want to just release all those feelings of doubts, feelings of hatred, feelings of hurt, any feelings that I had in my mind or my body and my soul. I just want to release that and become a new woman leading up to 2022. So Larkeia actually has a plan or a step for me. I don't know what you
she is so crazy.
But she has, right. If you want to elaborate more on that.
Okay. She's so silly. Okay, so I actually wrote her out a personal growth plan.
Okay.
So for a lot of my clients, when you work one-on-one with me, or if you buy an online course, what I typically love to do is to get you into a growth plan. Okay. So something made specifically for you. So for my one-on-oneers, the VIPs, we work specifically with what you have going on. So not just a generic, this is how you get happy. So I made a plan, a growth plan for her. And we're just going to work through not everything, because it's a process, guys. So that means you can't try to tackle every issue you have right now. Mm-hmm. You really have to process one and maybe a part of another thing, because the processing part takes time, because you have to work through it. So we're going to tackle one of hers today and maybe get a little bit into another one of her traumas that she wants to open up and kind of release. So, Brianna.
Oh, y'all, I'm smiling, but I'm nervous. It's like crap right now.
Yeah, and I get it, because the transparency is scary. Mm-hmm. Opening up to other people is scary. I never wanted to do it, so it's crazy that now I'm a voice. But I hated it. So I applaud you for doing it, and doing it on camera, y'all. Come on now. Come on, she's doing the thing. She's like, I am attacking this stuff, and I'm doing it now, and I'm doing it right way. So, Bri, what is one of the traumas that we're going to discuss today? Something, like I said, that has lingered with you, that you want to go ahead and nip in the bud so you can become just that better version of yourself, not just for next year, just for yourself.
Right.
So what is that one thing that we're going to start with?
Okay, so one of the triggers or traumas that I've encountered during childhood was just not really having a voice. So I grew up a single child, single parent. Mom and dad got divorced when I was 2 years old. And so it was really hard for me because I did not have nobody that I felt comfortable with talking to. Like, I had no siblings, so I really felt alone. So whenever it was something going on with, like, my parents or something going on with, like, friends, I'd be like, hey, like, who can I talk to? Like, I was like, who can I talk to? And so I never really found an outlet till years later. That's when I started doing poems. So that was my outlook. But at the same time, it's just a paper. So I'm never really saying those words out loud. So it was still inside. And so
absolutely,
me and my mom, we have a very close relationship. We literally, like she always says, you can come talk to me about anything. You know how parents say, you can come talk to me about anything.
Yeah, but really you're like,
but it's
no.
like, no, I really can't, because if I tell you something, it's going to make you upset. But being that I did not feel like I had a voice growing up, it affected me in the long run as I got older. So when I do have a conflict with my mom, or when I do voice my opinion with my mom, or anybody in general,
yeah.
it's like I kind of want to keep that inside because I really don't want to hurt the next person's feeling. Because I'm always worried about, okay, if I say something, being that I was never here to say something, it may affect the next person who I'm saying my voice, my opinion to.
Yeah, and I get that because that would you don't really know that that's more common than you think.
Right.
Because hurt people hurt people. So, and that's just not a cliche thing to say. That's a real thing to say, guys. So, our parents, we're products of the people that raised us, whatever that is to you, grandparents, foster parents, it doesn't matter. Your role models. We learn from them. So, not just from what they taught us verbally, but what they did taught us a lot. So, you picked up cues from your mom earlier on, not even intentionally. She probably wasn't intentionally trying to make you feel this way, that you had no voice or had no say-so.
And then with that, too, it was like we are literally the best of friends, but when it comes to, like, emotions and communication, we lack that. And I wish we had that early on because... whenever time we're just having a good time, we have a good time because we're having a good time.
Yeah.
But it's like when we're arguing about something, when I'm voicing my opinion and she's voicing her opinion, it just doesn't comprehend with each other.
Yeah.
It's just like we just fall off. And so with that, we don't communicate at all. So it's like the next day it's like, oh, hey, Bree. Hey, I'm like, hey, Brian. I was like, girl, we just had an argument yesterday. I don't want to be, I still feel away. Smell in your face. Yeah,
I still feel away about that because it wasn't resolved.
And so, like, what I wanted from her for so long was like, hey, I know we had this discussion. I just want to talk to you about what happened. I just want to really get to know, like, your side and how you feel. Or just tell me your emotions.
Absolutely.
And, like, when you see me down or something, just be like, hey, Bree, what's going on in your life?
Right.
Just talk to me in a calm voice manner.
Right.
I always felt like I was attacked a lot because if I want to say something, she's like, well, just shut up. Just be quiet. Just don't say nothing. And it was like, so what I have to say doesn't matter what you say right now. Matter.
Yeah. And see, like I was saying, that's a very, very common trauma. And people tend to overlook it because it's not like a really big top of the abuse chain. You know what I mean? You're not really verbally abusing me. You're not really, you know what I mean? You're not harming me physically. So people tend to overlook those type of traumas. But hey, you can't do that because they are real. And like I said, they have side effects. They have collateral damage when they go unchecked. So what you're doing now is really, really great because even though you're grown, your mom is older.
Right. We still deal with things.
You have a relationship with her. So that will still enhance the relationship you guys have if you learn to resolve some of that and you guys can learn how to communicate better and you can release a lot of the hurt from it. You could communicate better. So even one party learning is still good for the team. You know what I mean? So this is a good step for you in the right direction because that is a big thing. So how did that make you feel? Let's talk about that part just a little bit. You said you weren't able to voice how you really felt, or she would tell you just be quiet, or just, don't worry about it. Kind of like shutting you down a little bit. So what did that create in you? And what feelings and then what perspective did that create in you about yourself?
For me, it created just like I was boxed in a shadow. Like I was just feel like I don't really know how to put it to words. It's more like an internal feeling. And it's also because I really don't know how to express myself because I wasn't really able to talk about my feelings. So I have a hard time expressing what
like how do I get it out? But I tell you what, just say whatever comes to mind. It doesn't have to be a complete sentence because you don't have anything to prove. Your feelings are your feelings. And that's one thing that I want to get you to become very comfortable with. Your feelings are already validated because they're yours. So nobody can tell you have no right to feel what you feel. So whatever comes out is right. So you don't have to worry about, okay, I don't know the right words because I struggled with that. I wouldn't open up about my traumas or anything I went through to childhood because I didn't know how to say it. I didn't know how people would receive it. You know what I mean? And it took me well into my adulthood to understand my feelings are still real and they're still valid. It's my truth.
Right.
Regardless of how you receive it, that's still real for me. So that doesn't, the way you feel in your opinion doesn't negate the fact that this is how I feel and this is still real. So whatever words come to your mind, dark, it doesn't have to make a lot of sense to anybody but you, because this is for you. Right. You are releasing this. So just think of any words, any emotions, and associate those emotions with words, clauses, phrases. Hell, it doesn't have to be complete sentences. The word that's coming to my mind right now is just trapped.
I would say trapped. Like,
beautiful word. You see what I mean? It didn't have to be a big old thing. You know what I'm saying? Trapped. That speaks a lot of volume. When you're trapped, you're enclosed. You know what I mean? You're cut off from the rest of the world. You're secluded. So if you felt like you were trapped, your voice was also boxed in. And so that it became very limited. So that's why you have that block of words to come up with to match the way you feel, because you have limited words because you were always limited. Right. You felt enclosed. You know what I mean? So it makes perfect sense that for you to say, I don't have the words, and then it's easy for you to just give up on it. I see how you were. Yeah, I don't know. I can't explain it. You're going to have to push yourself to go a little deeper, even when it's just you. Push yourself a little deeper and say, no, what do you really feel? Just say whatever it is.
And so with that too, being that my outlet was poetry and poems. So how is it, how will it be easier for me to put what's on paper to actually say it out loud?
Actually, it's like a prelude to write it down, because it's like a rehearsal. So when you do have a conflict with someone, it would be really good to write down your thoughts about the conflict. Write down your thoughts about what just happened, your point of view. Write that down so at least it's not just stuck up here. And then it's just feelings festering. It's just energy, because you're not putting words to it. So you're just feeling energies, and then you're not talking about it. So you just bury it. So you just have energies. So at least the writing releases it to the paper and gives words to it, even if they don't make sense. So it's like a rehearsal. So now you got words to it. So now when you're beginning to speak, you've already written the words. So some of those words are going to come to your mind when you're speaking, because you wrote it. So you had to think it, and then you had to put it on paper. So when you start to speak it after you wrote it, it's going to open up even more, because I know where I'm going with it. It's not going to be word for word, but you know where you're going with it because you released it. You released that energy and put it into words. So now you're just going to borrow those words and thoughts that you've already premeditated and voice it to somebody else. So I would recommend for you, that's a very good step. Like anytime you have a conflict, girl, you need to have a journal. You need to have a conflict journal for yourself. So it could be something small at work or whatever. I'm going to need you to go in the break room. She said this. And girl, I just felt like she was saying, I ain't had my stuff together. You know what I mean? Literally say that. So when it's time for you to speak on it, you've already given words to it. You've already given voice to it, really. So now you just have to use your physical voice to voice it out. Does that make sense?
It does make sense, but it's like I have been trying for so long to voice my opinion or voice how I feel to somebody else. It's like I'm literally, like, I show up, drive, whatever you want to say, pull up to the curb, whatever, knock on the door, open the door, and then it's like I should as soon as I get there. Because it's just so hard for me to just actually put the words to my tongue to speak it out. Like it goes on in my mind like over and over and over again, but it's just hard to actually.
Girl, I've been there. I used to rehearse over and over, even with my man. I would rehearse the argument before we would even have the argument, because I knew it had to be said. So I was sometimes days. He don't know what's going on, but because this is how I was feeling, and I don't know how to just say it, I need to practice. So I practice my part. I practice what he could possibly say to me, and then I practice my rebuttal. So I wouldn't be caught off guard and like just shut down. Because that's what people tend to do. When you don't have the words, you don't know what words to say, you have to just shut down or just say hurtful things. So my thing was shutting down. It seems like yours is similar too. You'll just, you go back to that corner that you were put in. But right now, what you're going to do is you're going to break the walls off of that corner, off of that barrier that they put you in. But fear has you.
Yes.
Fear is what stops you at that door. When you drive up and pull up and you can't get out and do your thing, so to speak, that's fear kicking in. But you're going to tackle your fear. See, when you're tackling your fear, you need to understand fear, first of all. Fear should not stop you. Fear is just here saying, hey, you need more information, possibly. So a lot of times we don't have all the information. We don't know. We need to go back and we need to figure some things out. Fear is saying, hey, you don't know all the elements here. You need to get some more information about either what you're doing or what's going on. Fear is telling you, hey, maybe you're not ready. Maybe you're not prepared. So fear, you have to look at fear as like a sensor. It's not supposed to be a roadblock. It's supposed to be a sensor. Something just like your car, and I know my truck does it, when we don't plug up our seatbelts, it's just going to go off and go off and go off. So you need to start associating fear more so with that. Fear and ask it questions. It's a sensor letting you know something's going on. What do you need right now in order to cross over this line? What do you need? And you need to stop and ask those questions. Why am I feeling this way? Am I afraid of what? I don't want to hurt their feelings. I don't know what they're going to say back to me, and my feelings may be hurt. You know what I mean? What is the real issue? Right. So you need to start questioning the fear and not let it stop you. You need to become friends with the fear and say, okay, so what's going on here? What are you telling me? You're telling me what? I'm worried about her. And see, what I found with you worry about the other person. So you're worried about how they're going to feel about your thoughts. And so what you're going to have to learn that you are training people on how to treat you. And you're training them with your silence. So by you not responding or you not getting that closure you need or not really expressing what's on your mind, you're training them that my opinion really doesn't matter. It's fine if you just voice yours. I don't really have to get clarity here. I'm not that important in the situation. You know what I mean? My clarity is not that important to me. So why would it be that important to them? So you have to think about that. If this is not that important to you, Bree, to get it out, and you're showing them that it's not that important to you. So you're training them to treat you like you treat you. So the first thing you're going to have to stop is stop treating you like you treat you. You're going to have to make your voice, your opinion, your thoughts, your clarity, all of that top priority for a minute. Because you are showing them I'm not that important. And maybe that's because when you were going through with your mom, those are some of the emotions that it caused within you that you couldn't voice. You felt trapped, but trapped also means I'm not important because I'm locked in this box. So how important can I be to you if you're putting me here? Everybody else is free to be them, but I'm here and I can't be me. So how important could me be? And that's what you have taken on. And it's time for you to take that off. It's time for you to release that and say, no, I am damn important. My thoughts are important. My feelings are important. So guess what? Because it's important, I got to let you have it. And not let you have it, meaning I'm going to jump down your throat and be all crazy with you. No, I have to let you have the thoughts that I have, the perspective that I have. And I got to get clarity for me. I got to get resolution for me. I get that it may be a bit uncomfortable for you, but for me, this is what I need. So you're going to have to put yourself up here, Brianna, because you're not doing that enough. You're not valuing your voice. For you to say, I'm not even going to worry about it. I'm not going to say anything. Why would you not? If you knew how important your opinion was, you would say something. And the other end of that, too, is You never know what you could be doing for that other person by giving them your perspective, your opinion. You could be illuminating something in them. You know what I mean? You could be opening up something in them because they could be closed-minded or narrow-minded. And by you shutting down and saying, I'm not, we're just going to do a little sage. So, one big thing that you are going to embark on your journey, or dive into, is self-importance. Really, really, it's like you can know it, that you're important mentally, logically, like, yeah, I know, I know. People always say, just like people generically say, yeah, I love myself, of course, I know myself. People say these things, but you really have to connect with that. Not just a knowledge, just like book knowledge. We learn stuff in books all the time, been doing it our whole lives. But that doesn't mean we connect with it. You just know it as a fact, but you don't really know it as truth. Fact and truth is different. So you're going to have to connect with the fact that your feelings, your perspective is important. Connect with it on a feeling level, not just a factual thing. And for that, it's going to take practice. It's going to take intentional practice. It's going to take you intentionally become aware of that. And it's so important because if you don't do this, like I said, you're training people, but you're also enabling misbehavior. So you're enabling other people's misbehavior and mistreatment of you. So it's kind of really your responsibility to yourself. Your first responsibility before to any other thing in this world is to yourself. So with how you've been handling things, how could you say right now and judge that responsibility, looking in hindsight of how you've dealt with sharing your emotions, sharing your perspective? How would you say you're handling that responsibility to yourself?
I would say now I'm handling it in a way that I know that my voice matters. So I'm trying to be more open and more transparent with people that's surrounded all around me, and know that, hey, there's a problem or there's something that I do not like or don't agree with. I want to voice my opinion. I want to make sure my opinion is still heard. But I do know that when things get a little harder, I would say in relationship wise, I shut down. I go back into that trap place. So I say it's easier with people who I consider friends versus people who I like deeply, deeply love and falling in love with. And
because you care about their feelings more than others. But where you have to draw a fine line because you love those people so much, and I get it. You don't want them to be hurt by what you're saying or by your hurt. But your responsibility first is not to them.
Right.
It's not to
and that's
their
exactly where I'm trying to
feelings.
get to now.
So you're going to have to remind yourself of that. That your first responsibility is to you. And you're not used to it. So it's going to take some time going from the back seat, because that's kind of where you put yourself when it comes to you or people you love. You put their desires, their whatever, before yours. You know yours matter, but I'll give in to yours. And I was that way my whole life because I wanted to please people. I wanted them to be happy. I wanted everybody to be good. And I knew, okay, if you're good, I can figure out a way to be good. But that's not necessarily true when you make it a pattern, when you make it a habit of not giving yourself what you need.
Yeah, and I think also what plays a big conflict in the type of person that I have grown to be and trying to break away from is because I grew up being a service-minded person. So like my grandparents, she from Mississippi, grandma daddy from Mississippi, grandparents, my daddy's side from Chicago. So they're the type of people who like literally give you whatever you need, make sure you are satisfied 100% of the time. And so that's what I grew up seeing. So it still plays a part now because I'm like willing to give the next person everything. Well, I may not have anything at all. and it's like it's so hard to say no, like the yes person.
Mm-hmm.
I really want to say no, like every time.
Yeah.
maybe not every time, but like
Majority,
most of the time,
yeah.
it's like I don't want to say no because I want to make sure you're okay at the end of the day. But it's like at the same time, and now I'm going into a part of my life where I have to make sure that I'm okay, and that's one reason why I want to do this for myself and other people too, because there are a lot of other people that are just like me, and I want to just help them along with myself as well. So it's like we have to say no matter if it hurts the next person. Like I have to begin to say no.
And learn no is a complete sentence.
Right.
One of my favorite mentors and coaches that I've worked with, been under her wing, her teachings, Lisa Nichols, love her to death. She first introduced me to that concept because that was me years ago. When I started my journey, I had to walk myself through all of the steps of getting rid of all of the junk that I didn't know I had. So I had learned that I was a service person. I knew that already. I'm here to serve. Of course, look what I do. So I knew that. But sometimes you can take it a bit beyond. And what Lisa taught us, we have to serve from our saucer. So really she's saying serve from your overflow. So, saucer, cup. You need to stop serving from your cup. The cup is for you. The saucer is your overflow. So, when you are good, then the yeses can come. But if I'm not, I know I got this to do, this to do, this to do, and you ask me to do this, that will be serving you from my cup. My cup is not full yet. Because I haven't taken care of this, I haven't done this, and I haven't done this. So honestly, I would do you a disservice to give you what I'm supposed to be giving me. So no, I'm sorry, I just can't. Whatever way makes you feel better, but learn that no is a complete sentence. You don't have to give them an explanation.
Right.
So don't start your no journey with, how am I going to tell them no? Don't get all boggled.
Say no,
yeah,
and leave it
you
at
can
that.
say no if that's the only thing comes to your mind. No, I can't. Sorry. And I had to practice this just a few years ago. Started working with my nose, and now I would say I'm comfortable in it, but I'm comfortable in it to the place now it doesn't make me feel away. I used to still say no and be like,
right.
What are they going to say?
What is the person
I'm waiting on them to
back?
respond. Or, if I say it and I'm on the phone and I get quiet and I'm like, how are they feeling? And then I try to figure out some more words. Well, but if you do this, then I probably could. Don't recant it. Don't walk it back. No is a complete sentence, and stop. Listen, let them. It's your turn now. Just stop and be quiet if that's all you got. But learn that no is a very, very powerful thing when you need it to be. Not just to be mean to somebody, and you don't even have that, in you. You know what I'm saying? Like, naturally, you would have to make yourself be mean, is what I mean. Anybody can be mean, but you would have to get out of character. So in Brianna's character, you're not the type of person. So you're going to have to familiarize, but this no is for me. So when you say those no's, feel empowered. Don't feel like, oh, I'm the worst person in the world. They really needed me.
Feel so bad.
They needed me to do this, and I just can't. No, because you're going to say this. You're going to say no, and then you're going to say, because I need to do this. Kudos for you. Give yourself gold stars. Girl, I had to do all of that in my journey. Like, seriously, I gave myself points. I was on a point system. And I've kind of shied away a little bit from the point system because I've matured. But beginning, I had to give myself points for doing those things for me. And I'm like, I did it. I said it. I did it. Okay. Point. Today you did 3 things. You said, you stuck up for yourself 3 times. You walked away from it and you didn't care.
Right.
And now I'm at the point to where I don't really care what happens next. I hope it's not hurting your feelings, but my emotions aren't tied up in what happens next. If I could have helped you, of course I would have. But if I'm not in a position because what I need is not fulfilled yet, then I'm sorry. Because I need something, you know what I mean? And you need to feel good in giving it to you. Because who is going to give it to you if you don't? Your responsibility is to you. Because you're you. There's not going to be anybody else that feels what you feel, that is hurt from the things that people say to you. Nobody's going to be hurt by that like you. Nobody's going to feel those emotions like you. Nobody is going to go through all the turmoil in your mind but you. So you have to make sure that you are good, that you are clear, that you have whatever you need. So if that's clarity, you got to give it to you. Don't shut it down, because not only, like I said, are you teaching them, you're allowing them to repeat behavior. So now guess what's going to happen the next time you have a disagreement? They're not going to expect you to come forth with anything.
Right.
So guess what? They're going to feel like they can say their piece and they win. But it's not about winning. But you're teaching people that it is. You're teaching people what I'm saying is not important, so you win. What you're saying is more important than me, so I'm going to concede to that. And you don't want to give people that notion that they're above you, because they're not. Because you're putting yourself on a lower level, and guess what? You're going to start to live and act from that level, not knowingly, not consciously, but it'll affect you little by little by little. You're taking on that role before you know it, that I'm not as worthy as you are. So if a position or something comes up and it's up between you and somebody else, guess what you might do? Shy down a little bit and go ahead, and they probably needed a little more, or you know what I mean, I'll let them go ahead, when really that was supposed to be your time to shine. Just an example of how it can trickle over into other areas of your life, not knowingly.
Right.
You know what I mean? So giving yourself the power, you're taking that power back from that trauma of when you got placed in those boxes all those times, when you got placed in those corners, when you got trapped. I used to feel like I was trapped with the covers over my head. I was like, I'm stuck. Girl, yeah, like I'm stuck under here. But that's what you're going to have to do. Taking that power back and putting it where it belongs, with you. But can't nobody do that but you. So you're going to definitely have to take deep breaths and voice your opinion, even if it comes out crazy. Give yourself a kudos. Turn your head and be like, yes, I don't care. But you did it. And it's going to become easier and easier. So especially with the people you love, if they love you back, they're going to respect the fact that you're giving them your perspective. Because, like I said, you're training them. You're okaying the behavior from them. So if they love you, they need to hear that. You're really not giving people all of you. So significant others, parents, close family members, you're really not giving them all of you. You're holding a lot of you back. You're putting Bree back into that closet, that locked door. Nobody else is having to do it anymore. So it's like Stockholm syndrome, where the abuser or the whatever you want to call them has left the kids, or the whatever you want to call them, the victims. They're not chained anymore. They're not captured anymore. They let them roam freely, and they will even leave. And guess what? The victim wouldn't leave. They're keeping themselves there themselves, mentally, because they've already established something mentally over the years, over the time. They're keeping themselves trapped now at this point. And so that's kind of what you have going on. You're keeping yourself hostage.
Holding myself back
at this point. You're letting fear, instead of guide you and give you information to the next move, you're letting fear stop you and shut you down. And it was never designed to do that. So you take that power back, Bree. You say, this is my power. Mom, I love you to death, but it was never yours to issue out. It was never yours to shut down. You didn't even know you was doing it probably. But it was never yours. It's mine. So keep in mind, from here on out, Brianna's the one that's keeping herself here. If you want to be free, you're going to have to risk looking crazy. You're going to have to risk hurting some feelings. You're going to have to risk sounding like a crazy person sometimes, because you're just training yourself. And eventually it'll get easier and easier and easier to start expressing, releasing. But you got to start. You can't say, oh, I was almost finna say it. I just went to bed. I didn't even want to. I didn't even want to say it. I just went to bed because she wasn't going to understand. They wasn't going to hear. No, you just came up with that conclusion yourself in your head. So, no more. You are important. You're going to do some mirror work.
I am.
Mirror work is the first thing I'm assigning to you. And I love to give people mirror work.
What is mirror work?
Mirror work, okay, kind of like I said, you're working your steps, but you're doing it in the mirror. Handheld mirror works great, or you can stand in the mirror and do this, but you're looking at yourself. And what you're going to do, you're going to be in the mirror, and you're going to say some things to yourself. And see, it hits different. And I had to do this to me. I had to talk to me like I was somebody else. I had to talk to me in third party. I had to think of me as not me. This is Larkeia. I disassociated myself from who I was because people like us, we have great compassion for other people.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So for me, since I have compassion for other people, Larkeia has to be somebody else in order for me to learn how to have compassion for her. In order for me to learn how to love her, I had to pretend she was somebody else because I'm good at loving other people and thinking about them. So I had to third party her. And then eventually we became one. But right now, when you're in that mirror, it's like a third party situation because you're looking at somebody else. It's you, but this is somebody else. And you're saying it to that person. So when you're in that mirror, picture that face that you see. That's not Bree. This Bree. That's Brianna, or whatever you want to call her. Picture everything she's been through. Her hurt, her passions. Feel all of that for her. And say to her the things you need to say to her. No, I'm important. No. You're going to look at that person. You are important. Your thoughts matter. You are doing the world a disservice by not giving them you. Why would somebody be in a relationship with you if you're not going to give them you? You might as well not show up, Brianna. You may as well not even be their friend. You may as well not even have that relationship if you're not going to be for real and give them you. So that's...
Yeah, somebody was calling my phone.
That's her
and my leg hurts. So.
Yeah, we are a little tight.
My leg hurts so bad.
Yeah, we should have did a little yoga.
Oh my goodness.
Before we decide to be Indian. Oh, the thing that you're going to do with the mirror, you're going to have, in your plan, you're going to have already preset things you're going to say, but you can feel free to add other things in there. So for an example, you're going to be in the mirror, holding the mirror up or standing in front of the mirror. And you're going to tell yourself, for example, my thoughts, but you're not going to, my thoughts. You're going to say, your thoughts are important. Your feelings are important. It is your responsibility. I get jazzy. So that's why you saw that little move. Get comfortable because you're talking to somebody else. So your feelings matter. Say it so you can feel it. If you looking in that mirror and you're saying those things that you wrote out or that's in your plan and you don't feel it, then you're not doing it right. I recommend 7 times for each preset line or thing that you're going to say to yourself. Say it 7 times because it needs to sink in. What you're doing, you're training your subconscious. See, your subconscious, it doesn't question anything that you bring to it. So you've already embedded in your subconscious that you're really not that important when it comes to other people that you love. Your feelings and thoughts aren't that important when it comes to others. That's already there. Your subconscious doesn't question it. That's what your rational mind does. Your subconscious mind, what its job is to do is to receive and project. So it receives what you give it. If you give it to it enough, it's going to receive it and then it's going to project it into your life. It's going to project it into your actions. It's going to project it into your perspectives. That's what the subconscious mind doing. So you're training that mind. So you're going to have to say it with enough feeling for it to penetrate the subconscious mind. Enough feeling and say it enough times for it to sink in. Repetition. The subconscious mind is taking it in, taking it in, taking it in, and then it's going to project it once it has enough of it in its system. So that's what the repetition. Don't say, well, why can't I just say it one time? Because one time don't matter.
Right.
So you're literally going to have to say these things with jazz, whatever jazz is for you. I say, listen, honey. You know what I mean? Listen, honey. It is your responsibility to yourself to let other people know how you feel. Mm-hmm. It's your responsibility to yourself to get clarity when you don't have it in a situation. Give power and emotion with the things that you're saying to yourself. So read it, practice it 7 times. If you insert another line that you feel like you need to say, because I don't know everything that's going on here and here. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So feel free to add other things, but 7 times it out with attitude. If you feel like you just lazy did it, mm-hmm. Don't cheat yourself, because this is for you. Just like my sister tells me when we work out, don't cheat yourself. Treat yourself. Don't cheat yourself. You know what I mean? So, and I'm like, I get so mad, but I'm like, right. Yeah, really. You know, it make me, it make me dip a little hard. I'm cheating my own self. Say it again. Repeat it. My feelings matter. Mm-hmm. Say that out until you feel it. And you're going to do this 7 times, and then you're going to do it 7 days. By the end of 7 days and 7 times, you should feel it. You should already feel it before then. And that's what you're trying to trigger. You're trying to trigger the emotion, and you're trying to trigger. We're at home, guys. So, okay, it wouldn't be right if we didn't have a little craze here and there.
In the background.
So don't be alarmed. We're not in the studio production, but we're not. We're just relaxed. But honestly, you have to start feeling it. And if by 7 days you don't feel it, guess what? Rinse and repeat. You need to go in more. You need to put more attitude. You need to put more feeling on there. And you need to talk to that girl, that other person, that third party Brie. You need to speak to her, because guess what? She needs you. And you do well when people need you. So guess what? For right now, for this part of your journey, Brie is a third party. Give her a name if you need to. That's a third party person until you're strong enough, till you are connected enough to merge it, and then it can just talk to you. But right now, you need to talk to her, and you need to let her know she is important, and she is doing a disservice to herself and to the world by not expressing her emotions. And that's what I did for me, and I promise you now, I'm over that. I'm over it. Even if I'm not over it, guess what? In that moment, I go rehearse. I go practice, and I let it out. Do what you need to do to get what you need. But start there with your mirror work. And that's the first thing we're going to leave you with your mirror work, and speaking it to you so it can be received by that subconscious you. And then guess what? It'll start to project. Mm-hmm. That subconscious will project what you're putting into it. So if you put it into it long enough with enough feeling, enough conviction, it'll start to project, and you'll find it a little easier to say the stuff, because you got that subconscious backing you up, and you really believe I'm not doing you any favors by not telling you this. I'm actually making the situation worse for you and for me. So I'm wrong. So I'm the wrong party in this situation. Mm-hmm. Just by shutting up and going to bed, I'm wrong. I'm wrong to me, and I'm wronging you.
Right.
So keep that in your mind, and that should take you a step further with everything. So how you feel about it? The first part of your journey. First part.
I'm excited to start. I know it's going to be very beneficial to me. Mm-hmm. I'm excited to go into the next chapter of my life, which is being more open, being more transparent, understanding who Brianna Sturgill is. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to take the advice that you gave me. Mm-hmm. I'm ready to start writing. I already journal as it is at nighttime, but as far as like the daily tasks, I don't really journal that aspect of it. Okay. So I'm really excited to start doing a daily task. I do like my night prayers or things I want to accomplish in the future, but as far as like tasks, as far as putting on paper what's going on in my life and the words, I don't really do that. So I'm excited to begin the new journey of just really understanding who Bree is, understanding who Brianna is, and that third party is. That third, I'm ready to put her in a trap box and leave her there, because I've just been dealing with her for so long, and I'm going to just call her because she's not me. So
that really, old Bree,
that old Bree.
Not the third party you're going to introduce, but that old Bree that you're trying to reconcile and turn into the newer, better, stronger version of you, because that's really what the goal is when you're on a personal growth and development journey. It's just really all about being a better you, being a stronger you, because guess what? A better you and a stronger you can produce so much more in the world. You are attracting so much more energy to yourself when you're a better version of yourself. See, we're always attracting things to ourselves, but from what vibration are you attracting from? And when you're acting from a lower level of you, you're attracting lower level circumstances to yourself, lower level events to yourself. You know what I mean? Lower level people to yourself when you're living from that lower part of you. So it's layers to the disservice that you're doing to yourself by operating at lower level. You're really going to have to start valuing you, and then you'll see you'll have more valuable friendships, more valuable conversations, more valuable experiences, because you live now here instead of here.
Right.
So you've given more honor to you. So you're going to have a better quality of things coming back and surrounding you. My children, I think they want to be on camera.
They probably do.
I think they want to be on camera. They're not used to me working from home. I usually do everything when they're away. So, they're just a little razzle-dazzle. But I think this is great. Guys, this is really good for her. I think this is a good step. This is a good start. I wish a lot more people were as brave as you to say, look, I don't care how old I am. It's never too late to start tackling some things from the past that are still haunting me in my present. Because you even mentioned it shows up in your intimate relationships. It shows up in your close-knit relationships. So it's just because it happened long ago, it's not gone. So guys, remember that. Just because it happened long ago, it's not gone. It's still trickling over into your adult life. It's just showing up in different ways. So how is it showing up for you? She recognized how it's showing up for her. It's showing up. She can't speak in conflict. She kind of shuts down. So it's very, very powerful, the acknowledgement. Awareness is like king in my book, in my world. The awareness opens up doors. So now you're aware. You're more equipped now. But first you have to be aware of what this is doing to me, what type of damage it's causing in my life. So all of that's in your plan, but I'm so glad you decided to dive into it, openly and with us.
Definitely openly.
It's amazing. It's amazing. So you got this.
Thank you. I appreciate you all for tuning back into the channel. If you do have any topics that you would like for us to talk about, like for me to talk about, just put those down to the comment selection down below. I'm so happy to have Larkeia here. This session really means a lot to me. This session just means so much to me. I'm just so excited to go into the new journey of who Bree is, who Brianna is, and just for you all to see me transition to that woman. I'm already that woman now. I'm confident, but I want you all to see the true me in the next year, because I have so much to offer, and I'm just so excited for what this next year is going to bring to me. So stay tuned to healing journey, this mental healing journey we have for you guys. So see you in the next episode.
Cheers to that.
Cheers to the new year. Cheers to new experiences. Cheers to everything growth, everything mental, everything spiritual, everything mindfulness. Healing is the most important thing that we want to inspire, that I want to inspire to the women that are just like me. So
absolutely.
Cheers to that.
All of that.
Cheers.